My first guest, one of the most popular Republicans, not currently yet running for president. He served in the Senate for 8 years, and until last May, he played the district attorney on NBC's Law and Order. The president going crazy, speculating about why he's here tonight. Let's find out. Please welcome Fred Thompson. Thanks for coming. I hope you didn't hear the monologue.
I did.
Yeah.
We'll let that Tennessee joke slide.
Yeah.
Until after the election.
Right. Oh, I see.
You know, I appreciated that last segment you did, though. Every once in a while, I need something that just makes me glad I got out of television.
Oh, really? Well, thank you. Well, that's very kind of you. Now, I got to ask you something. You were here in June, and you said then you were testing the water. You've been in the water for a while now. Are you starting to get a little wrinkly?
These wrinkles don't come from the water.
They don't come from the water.
No,
all right.
No.
Well, what's the temperature? Is it tepid? What does the water tell you?
Nice and warm.
Nice and warm?
Nice and warm. Yeah. It hasn't been that long, really. You know, we've done in a few months what a lot of people have been working on since they were in the choir in high school. Mm-hmm. And so we're where we need to be right now. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about.
All right. All right.
I'm running for president of the United States.
All right. There you have it. Well, that's very exciting. Now, it took a long time to decide this. What?
Not really.
No.
No. We mentioned it the first time in March. A lot of people have been, of course, running for some time. Everybody kind of changed the rules. Usually, you don't announce until after Labor Day. Mm-hmm. But they started running a lot earlier, spending millions of dollars and so forth. And everybody said that you couldn't run this year without raising $100 million and starting much earlier. I don't believe that. I wasn't in the room when they made the rules, right. So I had to kind of follow my own lead. So we started around the kitchen table in late March, talking about it, thinking about what kind of world and what kind of country our kids were going to grow up in, and how many people have a chance to do something about it. And I decided that it was time for me to step up.
Okay.
So I did.
So it's exciting now. A lot of the pundits say, "Oh, well, you waited too long."
No, I don't think so. Of course, you know, we'll find out. But I don't think people are going to say, you know, that guy would make a very good president, but he just didn't get in soon enough.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, communications being what they are nowadays, if you can't get your message out in a few months, you're probably not ever going to get it out.
Well, that's true.
People don't start paying attention to these elections until they get a little closer. They treat politicians kind of like a dentist. They don't have anything to do with them until they have to
right.
The election usually.
Well, I mean, you haven't spent any money yet, and you're second in the polls, so that's there must be something to your theory.
Not too bad. Well, you can't tell much about polls nowadays, but obviously the people are going to give me an opportunity to talk to them about the things that I think are important. I think there are going to be decisions made in the next few years that are going to impact our lives and the lives of our kids and grandkids for a long, long time. They're going to determine whether or not we're a weaker, less prosperous, more divided nation than we have been. We can't let that happen on our watch.
Now, it's you, it's Giuliani, Romney, McCain. Mm-hmm. Which of those guys is the toughest opponent? Which do you fear the most?
I don't know. I don't know. I know them all to a certain extent. John McCain and I sit side by side on the Senate floor. And he's a good friend, and we'll be, after this is over with, unless, of course, he beats me.
Right.
Then I'll have to take another look at it. But, you know, I can't gauge them. I still think it's kind of early. You know, if you look back in history, some of these primary states, early primary states, have changed from what the polls were from like 3 weeks out.
Right.
So you can't tell. They're all formidable. But I think I will be too. So, you know, the nation's not going to be hurt by having one more good person step into the race.
Now, you're on the cover of Newsweek. It says, "Lazy like a fox," which is I used to get this in school. Jay has the ability, but does not apply himself. If Jay spent as much time... Do you consider yourself a good campaigner? Do you like to campaign, or is it one of those necessary evils? I mean, is it...
No. I like the part where you get out with the people.
Right.
And that's kind of been my history, you know, the red pickup truck and all. You know, it was more than just symbolism. It first of all, it got me away from the staff. They couldn't ride along in the truck. But it also got me out with the people. And
what did you do? You just took your truck and you drove around?
I took my truck and with one guy, and a lot of times he drove, sometimes I drove. We'd go from town to town and, you know, announce ahead of time. We were showing up, pull up in the square. I'd get in the back of the truck and the bed and make a speech, and we'd move on. And we went from 20 points down against a popular incumbent congressman to 20 points ahead on election night. And then 2 years later, we ran again, and another contested race, won by another 20 points. I won in Tennessee, if I can brag a little bit on myself politically, by 20 points in 2 races in a state that Bill Clinton carried twice. So I must like campaigning enough to get the job done.
Okay.
And the same thing is true with regard to what we're facing now. Of course, the stakes are much more important, I think, much more serious when you're running for president, and I take it that way. And I'm going to do my dead level best to make sure that the people get an opportunity to make the decision. You know, the pundits have all decided one way or another. The media and a lot of people make their living off politics nowadays, and that's fine. But if I can get out with the folks, sometimes I'll communicate to them on the airwaves. We're tonight, I think right after this show is over, we're going to have on our website, fred08.com.
Okay.
I'm on for about 15 minutes telling the folks what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So we're using that. Then we're going tonight. Jerry and the kids are backstage here, and we're going to go to Iowa. So we'll do that, plus grassroots campaigning, which is what we're going to do in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina for the next 7 days.
You mentioned New Hampshire now. Your fellow Republicans are debating tonight, and they're a little miffed at you for being here instead of being there. What do you say to
Well, we'll have an opportunity to debate a lot. I've been debating in courtrooms in the country since I was 28 years old, in political forums and so forth, so they're fine, and we'll do
And what do you think of the debate
share
process? As someone who watches these debates, I must admit, the little 30-second...
I don't think much of them.
How would you like to debate if you could debate?
I would do it in small groups, preferably one-on-one, and set aside a segment of time. Newt Gingrich has got a good idea. He talks about the Lincoln-Douglas debates.
Yeah.
And circumstances are different, but the principle is still the same. A thoughtful discussion over a period of time to get to know what people are really thinking, what they're really like. The segments now, you know, you got 10 guys or however many show up, with 30, 40-second sound bites. It's not designed to enlighten the American people. It's more designed for the people who are putting the debates on. And you run from one to another to another to another, and that's all well and good. I'll do my share, but I don't think it's a very enlightening forum, to tell you the truth. And I'll tell you something else. You know, for those who talk about that New Hampshire situation, I'm certainly not disrespecting them, but it's a lot more difficult to get on the Tonight Show than it is to get into a presidential debate.
Exactly. All right. Be right back with Fred Thompson right after this.